Okay, welcome back to the channel, everybody. This one we're going to continue on the floor. If you didn't see, I've went ahead, I've gotten these side pieces in here on both sides. I've got to do a little filler piece here. Now I know a lot of you may think, well, that's a lot of extra welding using those 4-inch strips, but like I said, I've got it. It's not really serving me any other purpose, and there's going to be a lot of welding in the floor anyways, and once it's all done and seam sealed, it's not going to matter. We'll undercoat the bottom. You won't be able to tell it from the bottom side, and then whatever we end up doing in the cab as flooring should cover it. But yeah, I've got these side pieces here done on both sides, the bottom sections, and then I've already got 4 pieces cut for the top here. There'll be 2 full pieces, and then there'll be a little strip on the outer edge on both sides, so it'll be like a 2.5 pieces or so. There'll be 2 extra weld seams here. It's not a big deal. It is a little bit of extra welding, but I already had the metal, and I'd rather use what I have and have a little bit of extra welding to do than to just go out and buy more. That way I can get this out of my way. But I think it'll work. I think it'll work fine. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do to tie all this back here in yet. So my thought is I'm probably going to, for the most part, get it all put in, and then I can readdress that back area and figure out how I want to do all that. I'm gonna have to do some work here in this area where it steps down and all that also. I'll get it figured out. It's probably just going to be more or less just cut a piece and kind of make it join both areas, the high and the low. I don't really know yet exactly what I'm going to do there, but this is what we're going to do now. I'm going to go ahead and get the sheet metal knocked down on the floor. I've got some grinding left to do on the top area before I actually put some sheet metal down. I've just cut a couple pieces and getting a feel for it. But yeah, working out okay so far. These side pieces, I just spot welded them in, drilled some holes and spot welded them in. That's how I'm going to do the majority of the floor, just because it's going to hold better. I'm not quite sure about the trans tunnel yet. I've actually thought about maybe making a portion of it bolt in, just in case. Just thinking, probably won't. It'll probably get welded in, but it's not really going to serve a purpose if we ever did have to take it out. But yeah, I'm probably going to pull this piece out now and take a flap disc and just grind all those welds down as smooth as I can get them. I mean, they're not terrible, but there's a couple that's a little high, a couple globs here and there. But I'm going to knock down the high spots, get it as flat and smooth as I can, and then we'll start getting these put in. Like I said, I've got 4 of them already cut, so we should be able to knock out a good little section to begin with. Now I've got to go up underneath and I've got to mark everything so I can go through and drill holes in them and whatnot, but that shouldn't be that big of a deal to do. So let me get a few things set up. I'll probably just go ahead and grind this down and get that knocked out, and then after that's done, we'll start getting the rest of this sheet metal put in the floor.
I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push my mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind you know I'll always manifest it.
Okay, so I've gotten out here this evening and I've went ahead and got the next few pieces cut, ready to weld in, holes drilled in them. So I'm just trying to get it done as quick as I can, and it's all pretty repetitive. But I'm probably going to go ahead and get, I think I've got the next 3 pieces or so ready to weld in. I've got the next big piece ready to go on the driver's side, and then the little triangle piece here, I've got both of those ready for each side, and then this outer small piece here, I have it ready. I've just got to get the holes drilled in it and it'll be ready to weld in. It needs a little bit of grinding here on this outer edge, but my thought behind that, cutting it a little long, is when I get it in there and weld it in, I can come back, grind that edge, get it up there nice and even with the other one when we get ready to weld that in. You could, honestly, you could have cut it a tad, I could have cut it a tad short, like a blade width short, and filled that whole corner with weld. That way when we grind it back, you shouldn't have an issue grinding through the weld. But I think I've done enough of edge grinding and welding that I'm just going to grind it back even and weld it in as good as I can, and then make that edge pretty nice. I don't want it necessarily a sharp edge, so hopefully we can round it off good. But I figure the 3 pieces I have ready, I'll go ahead and get them put in, welded in, and then this next piece here, I'll get the holes drilled in it and get it welded in, and that'll leave the small piece on the driver's side. And the one piece should be enough to have made this one and that one, so I should have enough left from cutting this piece here to do the driver's side. I've just got to, I want to get this piece welded in before I put that piece up there and mark it where it needs to be. So I believe that's what I'm going to do. Let me get a few things set up. I'll get you set up on the tripod, and I'll go ahead and start getting the rest of these pieces that I've got ready burned in. And then hopefully tonight, my goal tonight, it's already pretty late. I didn't necessarily get an early start. What little bit of time I've had this evening, I come out and, like I said, got a few pieces ready. But my main goal tonight is I'd really like to get the main part of just the flat areas, like the sides of what I'm working on now. I'd like to get those done. So I want to get that one done. We'll get these side pieces here put in, and then I want to get this outer one put in and that outer one put in, because once all those are done, I've still got to come back and I've got to weld the main seams, and I want to get the majority of everything tacked in and spot welded in before I start welding those main seams, just because it'll already all be there. I can just do it all. I'm gonna wait, get all of this done, and I'm not sure. I'm still debating if once this is done, if I'm going to jump and do the trans tunnel, or if I want to tackle these side areas here, or if I want to do around the back wall. I know there's also around the front, around the firewall here, but my problem with the firewall is it's probably going to be better to do with the engine out, the trans out, or the cab off. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is pulling the engine and trans back out, and then whenever I go to do that, I can do that and the trans tunnel all at the same time, because I want to redo that front area just a little bit before I actually completely finish the trans tunnel. Now I'm probably not exactly sure yet, but I'm probably going to do this trans tunnel in a few separate pieces, only because it's probably going to be a lot easier for me to work the metal into shape and into place that way. I don't necessarily have anything that's going to help me manipulate it and bend it and get it to the shape that we need it. So my thought is if I do 2 or 3, 4 smaller pieces, however many I end up deciding to do, maybe that will help me get it all into shape pretty nicely. That is a little bit thicker of a metal that I'm using for the trans tunnel. And then this section is flat, but I think I'm going to use a piece of the other for that, just so I don't have to use multiple strips. And I can do that in all in one piece, and then however many we end up doing here, and then I'll come back and I'll probably use some of this to do a little side panel here on both sides. And then I've been thinking about this down here, being that this has the all the body roll, bead rolls, and form press areas in the floor for structure. What I'm thinking about doing to get this to match up here is I'm thinking of maybe relief cutting this back a little bit on both sides, because this in the center is lower, this is higher, this is higher. I'm thinking of doing a relief cut back just as far as I need to on both sides and pulling that center up level and matching it with this and the back, and then just flowing it right into that piece. And then this is where the battery used to be. Battery box was up under there, mounted to the mounted to the side step, the bracket for the steps, running boards. I don't think I'm gonna put the batteries back there. I've thought about it, I've been back and forth about it, but not 100% sure on how I'm gonna mount the running boards yet. I've made some mounting brackets, but I don't know that they're gonna work out. So I think I'm just gonna go back solid, both sides. That side did not have a battery in it from the factory, but it was so rusted out and everything was already cut up so bad that it basically ended up cut out identical on both sides. This whole area is gone on the driver's side too, so but I don't know, we'll see. But for now, I'm gonna get all this welded in and we'll see if we can't get the majority of this finished up tonight.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding from the words I spit. So sharp, so freezing, so cold. Behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts peeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. And I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything...
Well, as you can see, I got this little triangle piece put in. I started on this little sliver here on the outside, and I got that piece there done and the triangle back little spot done on that side. I got over here to this smaller piece. I ended up running out of welding wire, so I'll have to get some welding wire tomorrow before I can finish this piece up and get that piece over there put in. And then yeah, once that piece is put in and this one's finished, spot welded in, for the most part everything but the trans tunnel's done, except you know for the most part. But I'm gonna call it a night, and tomorrow we'll get some more welding wire and we'll pick back up and get this floor finished up. Okay, so I got the other piece done. I picked up some welding wire this morning and I've got this piece finished up and that piece over there done. So the majority of all the flat area is done. Outer edges are done. I'm gonna take a break and let this cool down a little bit and figure out exactly what I want to do next. I may start welding the main seams up in those, or I may work on the back, or I'm not sure yet. I'm going to figure out exactly what I'm going to work on. Let this cool down a little bit. And then, yeah, we'll figure out what we're going to work on next. There's still quite a bit to be done in the floor, so we have plenty to do. But let me let this sit for just a little bit and cool down, and we'll get back to it. Okay, everybody. So I was able to get out here a little early today, and I went ahead and knocked out quite a bit. Let's see. I got these little small pieces here on each side, the top here done in the back. I've gotten this side almost completely, I say done, it's not done, just pieces that need put in, tacked in. Nothing's fully welded, everything's just kind of tacked in and tacked together. But I've got this whole side. I've got one little piece left right here that I need to do. Not a big deal. There's a couple gaps that's a little on the big side, but I'll get those took care of. I was just trying to get it roughed in as best as I could for now. I haven't done anything on the driver's side. I had some time and I was trying to get as much done as I possibly could. And before I realized I hadn't filmed anything, and I had this side pretty well whooped. But it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll film the other side, but like I'd said, I just come in, I ended up cutting this. Now I don't know for sure if this is how this is going to be. I haven't welded this seam back yet. I've considered just cutting it on back and making it level all the way for the most part. That's what I ended up doing on this front section. It doesn't have that little dip down. It's just flush with this center brace here. But yeah, I didn't really run into any issues, and it was just getting my pieces to fit as best as I could. But yeah, this side is pretty well done, except for just welding everything in. Now I still have to finish this back area, and I still have to do the area around the firewall there for the trans tunnel. That I know will be done at a later date. Not quite sure about this yet. I'm still figuring on how exactly I want to tie all that in. And it may be better to do it once it's off the truck. I could probably do the inside portion of it now, but the underneath portion, I'll have to do one when the cab's off the frame. But yeah, I think it's turning out great. Once everything is welded in and ground down, I think it'll look fine. I know these, typically that big step is not there. All that was added because it's been body dropped. So, but I think we'll be all right. If I end up having to struggle to find a seat, my thought is if I can't find anything tall enough, I can build a little platform for my seat to mount to and stuff to get my seat up a little bit higher if it needs it. I don't know that it'll need it. The seat frame that I had, I assume was the original seat frame. It would fit in here before I done the floor. I doubt it'll fit now because somebody had cut the legs and it was shortened. So I doubt it'll clear the floor now. I had a couple of the legs where they had cut them off. I don't think I had all four of them. If I had all four, I could weld them back on and see, but I don't plan on running that seat frame. I'm just going to find something that'll fit, and that's what I'm going to end up putting in it. But yeah, I'm probably going to get ready to start on the driver's side now. I'm not going to go back in and weld anything solid in until pretty much everything's done. Now I may wait, not sure yet. I may wait to do the firewall until a bunch of this, or the trans tunnel. I may wait to finish the trans tunnel until a bunch of this is welded in. I don't think it's going to matter, so we'll just see how it goes. But yeah, I'll get ready, get a few things ready and whatnot, and we'll get started on the driver's side. Okay, it's the next day. I had to stop last night. I just went ahead and stopped after I got those two put in. But what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to start getting this section here took care of, and maybe even this section right here. Just go ahead and get those tied in and knocked out before I start moving on up into the area under the brake pedal and the gas pedal and all that. Toe board area. I've already got a little piece to put right here, and I think I've got a little piece that'll fit right in here. I'm not quite sure. I've about used all of that 12 gauge 4-inch strip. I've got a few small pieces that was left over, but this is the main biggest piece I've got left. And I'm going to use it right under the little toe board area. It's not quite long enough, but it'll work for the spot I'm going to put it in. But yeah, I think I'm going to get some stuff marked out in this back area. It's really wavy and funky right here, so I don't know what's going on. It's just where it was all cut out and the way it was pulled apart, I guess. I don't know. But I'm going to get a bunch of this rough stuff here cut off and straightened out, hopefully. And then I'll probably go ahead and do my relief cut here and my relief cut here, so I can bring that center up and it'll be level with the rest. Now, I have noticed on the other side, to me, it's not really going to bother me because the seat's going to be right there. This center section will have a little bit of a slant to it. It won't necessarily be flat when I do it like that. At first, it threw me off on the other side when I got it done. I was like, something don't look right. But it's because it's causing it to slant a little bit. It's not going to affect anything. The seat hopefully will bolt on this pad and that back pad. I'm just doing that because it's going to be, to me, quicker and easier to tie it in that way than to run a piece and do a step and run a piece and do a step and run a piece and step. You know what I'm saying? So it's not going to bother me one bit. I'm making it the way I want it. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do on both sides like I did on the other side. Relief cut here, relief cut here. We'll pull that up just enough at the back to get it level with the rest of that and just tie it in with that side. It won't affect anything like that, so that's the way I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go ahead, get some of this trimmed out, marked up, trimmed out. I'll probably do this section before I start messing with this little section here, and then yeah, we'll go ahead and get this side took care of for the most part. Okay, y'all, we have a floor. Now there's still a couple spots that I need to address, but for the most part, the floor is done. Now, I say done, everything still has to be finished welding up. I haven't solid welded anything in at all. Everything's just tacked in. I already know for a fact I'll probably have to get some more welding wire. When I went out last time, I just got a small roll trying to get this caught up and done. But yeah, everything is pretty well took care of as far as the main portion of the floor goes. Now I've still got to finish tying all this in here in the back, and I've got to do around the front for the firewall, but that's probably going to end up being done when I take the cab off the frame. I know I'd said I would do maybe the firewall when I pulled the engine and trans out, but I'm thinking I want to pull the cab off anyways to finish welding up the bottom side of the cab and finish working in that back area, just because it's going to be easier to do that with it off the frame. So my thought is if I'm going to pull the cab to do that and some stuff on the bottom side, I might as well just do it all. So probably in the next couple of videos, that'll be what happens. I'll probably pull the cab back off and try to finish up the last little bit of metal work as far as the floor goes, with the back wall and the firewall and all that. Then I've got that little spot there that I need to deal with, and it's right where that roll is for it to kick down onto the floor. And this little piece here, this piece ended up a little short, so I've got to do a small tad filler there, and this little filler piece here, and that's for the most part that's it. Now I know that leaves the trans tunnel, and I've been thinking this is the factory emergency brake cable. I had to kick it up out of the way to finish that floor over there. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that yet. I'd really like to keep the factory emergency brake handle that come for the truck. It's one of the pull styles. So I'm gonna look into maybe keeping that. I don't think it's all there. I think I'm missing a few pieces, but it may need a new cable and whatnot. I just didn't want to mess with having to get that out right now, but at some point, if I do use that, I'll have to make a hole for it to go through the floor and kick back. I don't know for sure, but I think that might have originally there was like an access panel that bolted in the floor right there so you could get to the brake master cylinder and the clutch. That's where all that was at, under the floor. So I may have to put a hole back through the floor to get that thing running back down the frame for now, or at some point. But my thought with the trans tunnel is I'm thinking I'm gonna make or do that in a separate video. This one, I'm trying to keep them under an hour or shorter. I think this one's already about 30 minutes or so, roughly. So trying to not just drag them out and make them super long. So what I'm thinking is I may do the trans tunnel and possibly the back wall and all that in the next video or a couple videos, just because this one's already decently long and I have gotten a lot accomplished. May not seem like it, but there's a lot of time. I've got a lot of time just put into this floor as it is right now. The amount of time that it took me to drill holes into all that and just get everything figured out exactly how I wanted to do stuff and whatnot. I've got a little bit more time in it than I thought I would have, honestly. But it's probably been about a week or so that I've got into the floor and getting it to this point. But I think we're at a good stopping point. We've gotten a lot accomplished in this video. I feel like we have. I'm just checking. Yeah, I think that's it. That little piece there and the two over on the driver's side. And then it just leaves tying the rear and the front end and the trans tunnel. Another reason that I'm thinking about putting this off and doing this in the front is I think I'm gonna have to get some more metal. I've got enough to do the trans tunnel and I'm not quite sure about the rest of it. I used every bit of this 12 gauge that I had, which, hey, I'm fine with that. I wanted to get it out of my way. It was just up against the floor and up against the wall and the floor, and I was tired of kicking it and tripping over it and running into it with stuff, so that got it out of our way. I know it kind of left us with a lot of welding to do, but I'm fine with that. I've got a lot of grinding to do on the floor anyways, so what's a few more weld seams? Once we get all this welded in and ground down and go over it real good with some seam sealer, it'll be fine. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do carpet or what exactly in the floor of the cab. It'll be carpet, or I'll do some type of bed liner, like a textured bed liner. I built a 96 Z71 Chevy years back, and that's what I ended up doing in it. I pulled all the carpet out and done bed liner up the back wall and the whole floor. Turned out good. I felt like it might have made the floor and the cab get a lot hotter just from the heat on the exhaust, but I'm hoping this will be a little bit different. There's a lot more room between the floor and where the exhaust will be in this, so we'll see. But that'll come at a later date. Yes, I'm very satisfied. The amount of time and stuff that I've already got into the floor, I knew it was going to be a lot, but there's a lot more there than what I thought I was going to end up putting into it. And I also was going to say, I may come back in here. I know I said it in the other video, but I may put a brace here and a brace here before I do this trans tunnel, just so we don't have to worry about any flexing right there in the center. This section right here should be under the seat, so I wouldn't necessarily be worried about it, but this one, I'm going to put something there regardless, just in case there's a foot on it or something like that. And if I do this one, I'll probably do this one. The rest of them should be fine. This one I can't. It's got the gear shift in the center of it, but I've got 3 in that front one, and I'm not quite sure that front one's going to stay exactly like that yet. I'll figure that out at a later point, or in another video when we start tackling that firewall section. But yeah, I'm pleased. We have a floor, and this is the first time it's had a floor in it since I've owned it. It didn't have anything at all. When I bought it, there was a couple pieces of aluminum diamond plate down each side, and then where they had started body dropping it, they had a road sign laying across the frame, and that was the floor of the cab when I bought it. There was no structure to it or anything, so having an actual floor in it, it feels good. I'm very pleased. There's a lot more strength back in the cab now, and I can tell that just the week or so that I've had all the structure, or 2 weeks or whatever that I've had all the structure back in the floor. Tremendous amounts of difference. That's probably a lot of the reason I had a lot of trouble getting the doors to line up and stuff. Also, I do know I didn't brace anything in this truck from day one, and reason behind that is there was nothing holding these front corners on either side when I bought the truck. So if it was going to flex and move, it had already flexed and moved. So I tried, the biggest part of it, I tried to keep the doors on it, and if I was doing anything, shut one, open the other one, or whatever. But and we'll still have to we still have to address the rockers. They're not done. The bottoms of the doors need to be done, and the front cab corners still need to be redone. They're not exactly right. The curvature's wrong for the fender, and that's just because everything was so bowed up and beat up and messed up that whenever I did do the front corners, I got it wrong because the curvature in the fenders and everything was wrong. So I'll get those readdressed at a later point. Not necessarily concerned with it at this point. I may just order some front cab corners and do them. I am going to order lower door skins, inner and outer, to do the doors, just because the amount of time that I would have in fabricating everything to replace the bottom sections of those doors, it'd just be a lot faster and easier to buy the lower replacement panels. And the inner and outer both needs to be done, so we'll get those done. But the bottoms of the doors and the rockers is, for the most part, the last of the metal work we've got to do. I'm not saying we won't do more, but as far as what needs to be done and has to be done, that's about all we have left. Not counting, I'm not talking about the last little bit of stuff to finish up the floor, but now I do have a little bit more work to do here. I need to finish this inner seam on these, which it's not a big deal. I just need to put a little piece in here on both sides and weld it in. And I've got a lot of grinding left to do. The doors still need to be ground down the rest of the way. I just haven't done them because they need to come back off the truck for me to grind them down, and I haven't pulled them back off yet. So more than likely when the cab comes off, I'll pull the doors off, and there'll be a lot of grinding getting done. So a lot of that may not be recorded. I may be trying to do that just a little at a time between videos, or get all that done while I'm doing the rest of the floor or whatever. I'm not sure yet, but there's a lot of grinding that's going to have to be done in the cab and on the cab. So I'm really wanting to get as much welding as I can get done before I pull the cab done, That way I can just grind and I won't have to grind and go back and grind and go back and grind. So yeah, making good progress, I feel like. I know that's kind of a big step there compared to just the normal somewhat flat floor, but I'm not concerned with it. Like I said, if we got to build a little platform for our seat to mount to, that's fine, because I want that seat hopefully as low as I can get it. I don't want a high back, I want a low back bench seat. So yeah, I think this is a good spot to call this a video. I want to say I appreciate everybody that's watching, everybody that's subscribed. We've got a bunch of subscribers lately, I feel like. I'm really pushing to get that 1,000 subscriber mark. Maybe if we can get monetized, hopefully it'll help me get content out faster and better content. I've gotten better with the videoing and getting some content out and whatnot. I'm still kind of new to it, so, but I just want to say thanks everybody. I appreciate it a lot. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot, everybody.